Alright everybody, welcome back. It's Oler the Great here, back in our tiny little hut. Um, so tonight we are going to work on gathering some resources. I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks for that. And we're going to get some crafting stations put up and make sure we've got more than just a bedroll and a couple of chests in this tiny little house of ours. So we can start refining some materials, prepping everything for that. Torches do not provide very much light, so I need to get some materials so I can make a little bit better uh, lighting. See a little bit better in here at night. Now I do recommend um, primarily farming during the daytime, especially around here. Um, I mean, it can be helpful to have a torch, but it does get pretty dark at night and pretty hard to see, and it's real easy to wander into an NPC camp that doesn't have a fire or bump into something that you don't really want to fight. Um, so, I mean, there's that. Still haven't decided exactly what we're going to do with this room yet, but we'll figure that out as we go. It may not even exist by the time we're done. And I need to figure out... Let's see, who's online? Just me. Okay. So I can't get one of the guys to shoot me an invite. That's fine. Well, while we're waiting for daylight then, I guess we'll jump in here. Finish learning the stuff we'll need to build our place. Okay, so you need bark for your tannin. um, amongst other things later on. And there is a way to produce bark in your carpenter's bench, but it costs wood to do so. You're better off going out and hitting the tree with a pick to start. Alright, that's enough of that. Okay, so now we need some stone. We need some iron. And some coal. And that's usually to be found along the ridges throughout here. You don't want to go in there early on. It's a great place to go later. There's the pools are in there. You can get some of that, or you can get certain things, certain items that way. From the other map. Get certain weapons, certain armors. I mean, you have to delve for them. It's not as simple as walking in there and grabbing the recipe. You get a piece of the armor and then you delve for it. But let's see. Yeah, so right now, primarily, we're after... Ooh, there's iron. Stone, iron. Coal is not a necessity. You can use wood as a fuel, but if you're like low level and you're trying to get wood to make shaped wood or dried wood or anything like that, you're better off come on. You're better off harvesting coal so you don't have to use your wood. Some more food, some more hide. So you do have to refine stone and turn it into brick, both to upgrade your building and to make certain crafting stations. So you can never really have too much brick or stone. You never really have too much stone. Because I think on base it's still 10 stone to 1 brick. I don't think it's quite that for us, because we're on a boosted server, but you can most definitely never have enough stone. Another important one to keep on hand is plant fiber. And generally you can find 2 or 3 resources grouped up together, and that's generally a really good place to gather your resources, because the less traveling around between nodes you have to do, the more efficient you're going to be in your resource harvesting. Now, most of the time I'm the kind of player that never throws anything away because everything has a use. Now, in some cases, if you're super over encumbered... Oh, Lord. I have way too much to fight this right now. In some cases, if you're super over encumbered, you may need to drop some items. Otherwise, you can run into issues like that. I've been doing this long enough, they're not going to kill me. It's not going to happen. They'll try, and it'll hurt. But... ooh, that really did hurt. and now we're out of their reach. So, yeah, once you've been playing for a while, you can judge whether or not you're going to be able to make it safely back to your base. Some servers have it where you keep your items on death. That's just referred to as death porting. Here, oh, I'm over encumbered. I'm going to keep harvesting until something kills me or until I need to go back, and then you remove your bracelet, pop back to your base, and you have all your stuff. We do not have that, and I've not even built a sorcery bench yet. We're working on it. All right. So this is not a huge resource haul. Obviously, there are much better ways to pull more resources than stone tools. I'm just giving you guys a brief overview. As far as the stone tools themselves go, they are shortly going to become obsolete. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out stuff out of our chest that we need for crafting some of this stuff. See, I even keep seeds. Those have a use, and we'll go over that here in a little while. Alright. So, first thing we're going to do is come over to crafting stations. And I've got enough for a blacksmith's bench. So we're going to take and put our blacksmith's bench back in the corner right here. So that's the best thing for a blacksmith's bench when you throw one up, is to put it in a corner. Now your smelter doesn't really matter that much. What we need to do now is put up our tannery. And then always right next to your tannery, you want your tanner's table. Now, never do what you're seeing me do now when you're playing on your own. Never put a chest or a table or anything like that directly under a window, because people can come up and interact with them through the window. Frankly, I just don't care enough for it to matter right now. One, there's nobody else on right now. Two, even if there was somebody else on right now, them getting in my house is the least of my concerns. Okay, so we've got everything crafted here except a casting table, which we'll get to eventually. The reason we're not doing the casting table like right away is A, it takes up a fair little bit of space, and B, we don't need it yet. We will, but we don't yet. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm starting out. I don't really need. Oh, this is the tannery, so we're gonna put our bark in here. Hold on to the regular hide. And pop in the reptile hide and get that cooking. And we're going to walk over here. Right? And we are going to throw in our twine and our hide. We're going to come over to our smelter. We're going to put 100 sticks in our smelter for now. I know it's not ideal. So as I said, those scraps turn into Eldarium. A fair bit of Eldarium, it would seem. We're going to refine all of that iron rock. And this is all just kind of helping get our weight down a little. Go back into our construction. So I've got everything except the casting table in this tab. Next we're going to go to carpentry. And we need a carpenter's bench. Now if you notice, every workbench has its own distinct shape. And so if you set yourself up so that you have that distinct shape in mind, I mean, yes, a carpenter's bench could have gone in the corner, but I can walk in between the carpenter's bench and access my armorer's bench. I can walk just to the other side of it, access my artisan's bench. Alright, so that's everything from carpentry. From alchemy, we cannot yet build a fireball cauldron. We can build an alchemist's bench, which we do need. Alright, so I'm going to throw my alchemist bench. Again, don't do what I'm doing. Don't put it right by a window. But I'm going to throw my alchemist bench right next to the window. For a cooking fire, we are going to build a large campfire, and I'm actually going to build that upstairs, so we'll skip that for now. Farming, we're not really making any of those right now, although we'll get to it. We'll get to those. Religion, sorcery, companions. Okay, so that's everything immediate. We're waiting on iron. Alright, so we got some iron. I'll walk over here, reacquire our twine. So normally I like to put the fireball cauldron right next to my alchemy bench. However, in this particular instance, I'm putting it right next to my furnace. The reason we're doing that is because the fireball cauldron is how we make the steel fire. Turn all that iron to steel. Alright, so we definitely need some brick, definitely need some shaped wood. So we go to our carpenter's bench, we throw all of our wood in there, and we craft the maximum amount of shaped wood. That's a lie, we need 10 of that wood. There. Alright, so while that shaped wood's cooking, we are going to climb up into our little top area up here. And smack dab in the middle, we are going to place ourselves this large cooking fire. Now that that's been placed, food. Now we could put the hole in a different location and throw stairs or do something along those lines. There's not really much of a point in doing that. We will build a more lavish home later. Now, as you saw, we can craft 32 of those. We don't need to craft 32, we only need to craft one. And this is where we put the bees and the bugs. All right. I'll throw up a dryer. A dryer can be used for a couple of different things. One of the big things you're going to use a dryer for is drying berries. And we should be able to unlock fluid press now. Let's get back in here. Cool, we can make dyes. Requires level 28, so we're almost there. Used to be so much easier to make a grinder. Oop. You gotta be shitting me. There. We also have some stuff that is here very shortly going to be going into the grinder. Let's see, am I missing anything really from setup? Those. Everything here except that. Okay, so for the time being, we have everything we need. So what we're going to do is we're going to start putting stuff in the locations it belongs in. Okay, so into the grinder goes silver coin, gold bar, and silver bar. And what that's going to do is that's going to grind those down into next to nothing. Into our furnace, we're going to throw this goldstone. We're also going to throw that crystal. Into our carpenter's bench goes that. Into our armorer's bench we put the thick leather. That. That's everything that goes in the armorer's bench. We got our tanner's table. Tanner's table. We'll get that. And we will make those. And real quick, we are going to start making some light armor padding. Alright, we're going to come over to our furnace. Drop in the steel fire. Now we can start throwing this stuff back into chests. Alright. Now that is set up, situated, everything's where it should be. We need more wood for our fire. Okay, there's iron nodes over here. We'll come back for those. Alright. So the reason for harvesting so much bark is what runs the dryer. Now we need wood for the fire. But this wood is still wet. It's not dry yet. So, in order to remedy that, we're going to put wood in the dryer. Get dried wood. Once we get the dried wood, it will last longer and burn more efficiently in the furnace. And in anything else we need it to burn in. But in order to do that, we need bark. We don't want to take bark away from our tannin, because here shortly we're going to go out on a little hunting trip and bring back some more hide. So what we do, come over here to the dryer. 240 bark. We're going to put 1,000 wood in there and let that cook and dry. We'll have to add more bark to it later, but that still leaves us 299 wood for our furnace. Put those sticks in there. Put that stone in there too to make brick. Drop this in here, make more twine. Now we're going to come over here to Armorer, and we'll learn the Defiri Watcher set. We'll be able to craft that. Good, we can make some more paints once we get there. So, we come over to the Armorer's bench, which should have most everything we need. We might have to go kill and butcher a couple lizards. Now you can wear the mask. I usually don't. I usually only wear a helmet if I absolutely need to. Now there is no use for those old clothes, so we just throw those out. And ta-da, we have a decent set of armor. It's not going to be super amazing, but it is light armor, which decreases our weight. Which is super important early build. So let's look at this armor stats real quick, because they changed everything on us. Alright, so gives us strength weapon damage, 30% across the board, so we got 3, 6, 9, 12% additional weapon damage. Could make that 15, but I really don't want to wear the helmet. Alright, we'll come back to dealing with that. Oh, I didn't even need to do that. I've got iron over here. Alright, we're going to make ourselves a set of iron tools. So, we need a skinning knife, a sickle, a pickaxe, an axe. You don't really need a cleaver. It's more efficient for getting meat. When you're butchering things, it's not necessary. And then we need to make a sword. Yeah, I'll make that for now. Alright, so now So those old weapons and tools have no use. One of the few things I'll get rid of is old weapons and tools because they don't have any use. Old armor doesn't really have much use either. And it's not the most amazing sword, but for the time being, it'll do. It's going to do more damage than that other one. Now, fishing used to be, like, definitely worth it. It's less so now, unless you're, like, really close to the water. Then it makes a passive way for you to get food. Because some of these animals are a little difficult to kill, especially the ones that, like, flee and run away. Might help if I had some wood for that. Grab a little bit of that dried wood. So drying wood gives you dried wood and resin. You need resin and plant fiber to make stone consolidant, which makes brick into hardened brick. That didn't used to be the case. It used to be, what was it? It was bark and ichor made stone consolidant way back when. Obviously that's not the case anymore. Alright, so we've not built too terribly far into the island, so there's some stuff still respawning. That's good. So right now, we're going to go get ourselves some brimstone. Like I said in the last video, all these yellow rocks through here are brimstone. Use a pickaxe or pick, harvest them, boom. Plenty of brimstone. It's one of the nice things about building down here is you find it in the water, so you don't have to go searching for it. That is a mildly important thing to bear in mind. So you use brimstone and tar to make steel fire. Steel fire and steel, or steel fire and iron makes steel. And then steel, brimstone, and black ice makes hardened steel. And star metal is made with star metal ore, brimstone, and black ice. So basically, for everything past your basic iron, you need brimstone. So that ought to be a sufficient starting amount of brimstone. We can always go get more. The fuck? There it is. Blended in with the background there for a second. Got me confused. Alright. So as you can see, I'm carrying almost half my weight in brimstone. It's mildly important material. The nice thing is, with how close it is to us, we don't have to worry too much about going to get it. We've not built in a place that's going to keep any of those nodes from respawning. Make more steel fire. So putrid meat has its uses, but you need so much of it to get even the smallest bit out. It's not worth holding on to. Alright, so we got that stuff crafting. Let's tab ourselves over. Okay, now we're going to come over here. As you can see, we can now learn steel tools, which is nothing overly impressive, but it is an important next step for us. We're also going to learn the fluid press, tinkerer. Let's see. And next time we level up, we will learn the next tier in the Wheel of Pain. In the meantime, we're going to come over here to our two-handed weapons and see. Nothing I can learn yet. We will need to grab that two-handed steel sword. Again, next time we level up, we can take care of that. Okay. So yeah, we're at the point now where in order to do much of anything else, we just need resources and time. So I've walked you guys through getting a basic setup. Kind of walked you guys through what everything does. If we look here, you know, we got some gold dust, some silver dust. We got wood drying here. The artisan's bench is the only thing I didn't really go over. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's artisans. It creates, or it's where you create a lot of these decorations. Now, if you're playing in creative mode, then ignore this, because all of this stuff, when you're playing in creative mode, shows up in your different subsections of your crafting hammer. But if you're playing in survival mode, you do still have to craft all of this in an artisan's bench. Carpenter's bench does all your woodworking stuff, so we'll just take a quick look at it, go over some basic recipes real quick. So we have shaped wood, we have shaved bark, so you can take the wood, turn it into bark instead of harvesting bark. That's typically going to be more handy or helpful if you're like living in an area where there's not a lot of wood, or there's wood but you can't get bark. Take the wood, turn it into bark. You've got, you know, your decorative beams. These are purely decorative and do absolutely nothing. You got your elevators, your bows, your arrows will be crafted here as well. Weapon handles, things like that. Armorer's bench obviously makes all your armors and shields. Armorer's benches also make shields. When you get to that point, there's a ton of different recipes. Anything that's a DLC recipe will have a different hue to it. So like Potane, you see how it's got the different color gradient behind it. All of this has different color gradients behind it, with the exception of the Defiri. And so this stuff here has no color gradient behind it. That stuff's going to be base game. Alright, you've got your alchemy bench, which is where all of your alchemist needs are met. We're going to make aloe extract. But yes, so here you can make, like, if you need to respec your attributes, you can make yellow lotus potion or anything of that sort. All sorts of different potions and stuff you can make. They all require different frosts or different lotuses. Some of them require alchemical base. The Tanner's Table, basically you can turn vines and plant fiber. You can turn plant fiber or vines into twine. and you can turn any kind of hide into its basic form. Tannery obviously turns hide into leather. Your fireball cauldron is where you do some of your other alchemy stuff. Pretty simple stuff there. Your furnace, your blacksmith's bench. Again, with the blacksmith's bench, weapons and armor, you can see your basic stuff and then your DLC stuff. This is from the battle pass. I have yet to craft it, but I'm contemplating it because I want to see how this one looks. And then you've got great axes, great swords, katanas, gladiuses, spears. I don't have all of that because the only weapon I've unlocked are the two-handed, but you know, there's that. And then we've got our chests here. You got your cooking fire upstairs. Cooking fire is pretty self-explanatory. Most of the benches are pretty self-explanatory based on the way they're named. That's just kind of part of the genius of the way the game is set up. So, as you can see, we cooked food. Ta-da! We've got our little teeny tiny upstairs area that we're just going to use to cook with. And that's that, everybody. Y'all have a nice night. And we will see you next time.